Hello, baby gangsters. This is Calvin, also known as Wormer, and this is my first ever playthrough of Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Spirit of Justice. And Phoenix has a suggestion of how we can look at this from a different angle. I'm listening. What if the Defiant Dragons really were authorized to take possession of the relic? I'm afraid I don't know where you're going with this, Mr. Wright. Yeah, what's he saying? Consider the orb transfer agreement, which states, I agree to hand over the Founder's Orb to the Defiant Dragons if I will come to no harm. What if, as the last part suggests, this was written under duress? We said this. This is something that we thought would be pointed out in court. Is an agreement to take something off someone under the penalty of pain or violence. I wasn't sure how that worked in court, but I assumed that it was like a thing that doesn't hold up. Because it's the same thing if you trick someone into signing something that they thought was one thing, but actually is another thing that actually doesn't hold up either, I think, in like American courts. So I assumed this was going to be a thing. That would render the agreement null and void. What are you suggesting, Mr. Wright? I think he's suggesting that like they don't even have a right to these original Founder's Orb anymore. Which, again, is not a bad argument. Because we said it as well. It is literally under duress. What it seems like, even though they weren't actually threatening violence, it seems that way. I'm not saying it's the truth. It's just a good argument. It's a really good argument. Why are you on your little cave expedition? I was investigating Dr. Buff's accident. Little cave expedition? What a way to put it. And there was something you overlooked, Mr. Justice. Namely, that his accident might have actually been murder. We thought, right? Remember when we were in the room? I think this isn't just me. Ace Attorney brain for all of us clicked. You know, when we see an accident happen, what's the first thing we think? Was a murder. You know what I mean? That's Ace Attorney brain. That's all of us. Yeah. I don't disagree. Murder. And it's not because I have evidence. It's because, honestly, I'll go with that. Like, honestly, it's Ace Attorney. Mr. Wright, you do realize such statements are not to be made lightly. I suggest the doctor was murdered by the Defiant Dragons. Yes, but follow me on this for a sec. The books that came tumbling down were from the archaeology shelf. However, among that mountain of books was a single volume on psychology. What's more, there was some blood on it. So like someone hit him on the head with the book. And you feel this is important because I think he's saying that someone hit him on the book with the book. Therefore, he's going to probably argue that one of the Defiant Dragons did this, meaning that it would render the agreement null in the first place, but also the actual thing itself. The agreement was made under fear of pain. The books that came tumbling down were from the top shelf, the archaeology books. We know this because the doctor's books were meticulously organized by subject. Archaeology took up the entire shelf, so the psychology book is completely out of place. Come to think of it, the shelves were arranged quite carefully. It's also worth noting that the psychology books only take up a tiny part of the bottom shelf. You might wonder why a book on psychology was found amid a pile of archaeology books. That's, again, it's a good argument. If you're someone who is so meticulous about organizing, you're not going to put the wrong book with the other section. We've all done it in our lives, right? We've all casually put like a game in the wrong section that we don't usually have it in when we're like in a rush. But in this case, this is someone who is like clearly an organized person. You know what I mean? And takes pride in organization. So I think it's a little different about like, you know, me or you. I'm not saying you guys aren't organized. I organize all my stuff as well. But there's some days where I will just like randomly put a game in the wrong place and then fix it later, you know? But I believe I can explain what that single out-of-place book was doing there. The doctor was struck from behind while selecting the psychology book from the shelf. And that's when the blood got on the book? Precisely. And to make it look like an accident, he was buried under a mountain of books. A mountain of archaeology books.
Objection!
Already objecting. It's never going to feel real us objecting to Phoenix, is it? It's never going to feel real. Wait a second, this is all just speculation, right? Or do you have proof that it was murder? Of course I do. Oh my god, the smile on Phoenix. You do? On a hunch, Detective Sky examined the doctor's head wounds. She found that he'd been struck by the corner of some object or another. Wait, what? A wound like that couldn't have resulted from a fall to the floor, you know. So the actual impact shows it wasn't actually just a fall to the floor. Okay. Do you understand what this means, Mr. Justice? Mr. Justice, he called us. I'll say this, like, it's a valid and, like, really good argument. It is. The wound makes it crystal clear that Dr. Bub was murdered. This is a murder case. At least this case we're doing right now isn't a murder case, but will it turn into that? Or is that how that works? We're in a civil case right now. Ah. Well, that was unexpected. Who'd have thought we'd break out of a stalemate like this? He pulled the ladder right from under us. It's a good argument. It's just, and I'm not saying that I made a good argument. It's just like, I think that utilizing something that it makes common sense just makes sense. And that's what happened with this. We were saying this from the start, that it just made sense that this would be something, it looks like it was written under a threat, you know? Still, if he thinks that's enough to make me back down, he's got another thing coming. Of course, Apollo, we need to fight back, of course. Even if the cause of death was murder, what makes you think it was the Defiant Dragons? You should know better than to hurl baseless accusations. Objection! Oh no. Did you forget who you were up against, Mr. Justice? Oh god. Huh? You didn't actually think I'd come to court without witnesses and evidence, did you? What are you talking about? I would like to request further testimony from plaintiff. Specifically, I would like the court to hear how he saw one of the rebels leaving the crime scene. Oh no. Oh no, no. He saw what? Oh no, 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 no. If he can prove it was murder, that's the end of our client's right to the orb. 110% it is. But I already think that, like, if you can prove that, like, it was written under duress, wouldn't that, like, make it, like, very null? Or maybe they're not saying it. Maybe they're not saying that at all. Maybe, like, I got it wrong. Maybe they're not saying it's null. Maybe they're just trying to prove that it was under duress. So since he did come to harm, then it nulls the agreement then. Yeah, maybe I was wrong. Because I thought it would be a situation where if you sign a contract, if I make you sign a contract with a gun to your head, you're not gonna, it's not gonna hold up in court. You know, if you can prove that it was a gun to your head. If you sign a contract and on the contract you write, if he doesn't sign this, he will have his legs broken. If you brought that to court, it would be done. It would be thrown out. It would be like, you can't do that. It's not allowed. It's not allowed whatsoever. But I guess, like, maybe here they're talking more about the idea that, like, the Founder's Orb wouldn't even belong to you because you nulled the agreement in this way. Did you have this up the sleeve the whole time? I mean, maybe. How could Mr. Wright do this to us? Phoenix, here's the thing. I know he was playing tricks last episode. This time, this is just a good argument. It's a great way of, like, pushing back on us. And, like, while I think that it's not true, I don't think one of the rebels killed him whatsoever. If you didn't know who the rebels were and you had no knowledge of them, I'm not saying you should just blame the rebels, but, like, there's a note that looks like it was under duress. There's a witness saying that the rebel murdered, a rebel left the scene of the crime. It's not about them being rebels. It's that he doesn't know them. He saw this note that looks really incriminating, and someone saw him leaving the scene of the crime. This is one of those times where I'm like, Phoenix actually made a good argument, you know? And I know like he's always a good lawyer, but I mean here it's like really good. He was just waiting to spring this trap. Yeah, he's using tactics that was used against him many times. This trial has taken another unexpected turn, but I must mention, Mr. Wright, that you have yet to identify the murder weapon. The object used to commit the murder was not located at the scene of the crime. It wasn't the book? The murderer likely disposed of it elsewhere. Okay, the doctor was struck with a corner of some object. The time of death is between 10 and 11 p.m. I thought it would have been the book, no? Well, I never thought we'd be deliberating the issue of a murder at a civil trial. All right, Miss Addison Wimperson, your testimony if you please. Oh, God. Here he is again. They do very funny animations for him. Prepare to be dazzled. Dazzled by the charismatic oration forged in the crucible of the campaign battles. Someone asked in the comments, like, they were trying to picture where I got the voice from. Because, like, usually, like, my voices are, like, because I grew up doing voices from my friends. Not because I'm good at voices, just because I was always trying to make them laugh. I'm not saying I'm a good voice actor. But I just like doing funny voices because I always want to make my friends laugh. For me, like, I'm trying to, like, kind of replicate the character from Marvin the Martian from Looney Tunes. There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom. But then also like the kind of like tinge that like some people in cartoons had that were like rich people. You know, they talk like this all the time. But if you put it together, I did this. I don't know. Maybe that's not interesting to you guys whatsoever, but that's what I was going for. It's like a mixture of Marvin the Martian, it was supposed to be a kaboom, and like a rich person talking like this, and together I do this, that type of thing. Hopefully it makes, I don't know. People probably like, how that's not interesting whatsoever. I'm not a voice actor. I've never been even close to a voice actor. I just like doing funny voices sometimes. That evening I was walking alone, lost in thought. I passed by the doctor's house, and that's when I saw Mr. Rebel. What? He was running out of the front door. It was around 10 at night. Surely that must have been him fleeing the scene of the crime. A vote for me is a vote to end such violence. That is my promise to you. Oh no. So the plaintiff saw a possible suspect fleeing from the doctor's residence, and was in the window of the estimated time of death? That's a Rebel. What in the world were you doing there then? It's very late at night, right? He said 10 p.m., right? He said 10 p.m. It seems Mr. Rebel was loitering around Crane Village that day. Did he say 10 p.m.? 10 at night, yeah. Why? Because he went there today to do dealings, right? And he was running around. They also have the evidence that he hid in a freaking doghouse. You know what I mean? There's lots of things piling up. There's evidence he was in the doctor's study as well. Isn't that right, Mr. Justice? You mean the suitcase? Yes. Oh no. He must have been in quite a rush to leave that behind. Phoenix is doing a fantastic job of picking up all this stuff. He's doing a fantastic job. Because it legitimately is one of those things where I'm looking at this and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. And by the way, Your Honor, Mr. Rebel just happens to be sitting in the gallery today. He does? Just one sound. See him trying to escape as we speak? But no, okay, can I just say something? That's a Rebel's default mode is running away. he's an escape guy. That's his hobby. Don't let the man get away. Right, you backstabber, why are you doing this to me? Oh my god, that's so much passion here for that as well, right? Like I can just picture him getting grabbed by the bailiff as he's shouting it at Phoenix Wright. Oh my god. Especially since, like, you know, they had he helped him back in Corain, remember? That's the thing. Phoenix does know. I said Phoenix doesn't know the Rebels, but Phoenix, I guess he doesn't know them as well as Apollo, is what we could say. That's fair. Because he does know the Rebels. He did meet up with them at one point. But he doesn't know them personally, right? That's the only thing we can say. Now, again, this could be a whole thing. I said it like before. Phoenix could turn around and be like, actually, I knew all along that that it wasn't yours. Or, you know what I mean? We don't know what his true motivations are. We don't know why he took on this case. He hasn't talked to us fully beyond the actual court case as well. But I'm just going on what we have right now, you know? That's all we have. The counsel slash defense may question the plaintiff slash witness once more. Please proceed, Mr. Justice. So here we go. We have to try our best with this. The Rebels' crime. That evening I was walking alone, lost in thought. Okay. I passed by the doctor's house, and that's where I saw Mr. Rebel. So he saw Mr. Rebel, because again, there is that giant window, right, in the office, so like you probably would be able to see that's a Rebel. He was running out the front door. It was around 10 at night, surely that must have been him fleeing the scene of his crime. We have evidence on the actual, the study diagram. So we have the windows here. We have so I wonder, should we press the second statement just for now? Because we have a layout and maybe that will lead to something else, like maybe able to push back on that a little bit. Hold it! Because we have the layout. Where exactly where you saw when you saw Mr. Rebel? I think this is perfect. Yeah, like, because and honestly, I would have left it, but then it's like, oh, we have evidence based on the layout, so it makes sense to do this. Makes sense. Yeah, 100%. Right here under this tree. Okay. I saw him dashing out the doctor bus front door. Do we have a picture of the actual office itself? Here's the thing, like, I'm kind of confused on why he's not mentioning, like, what else he saw. The window is on the floor. I remember this like specific thing. The window's gigantic, and it's so invasive that he had to like get a bookshelf to cover his desk because you can see everything in there. So wouldn't he have just like? Why isn't he mentioned that he saw the body? If that's a rebel killed him, the body would have been there at that moment. So why isn't he mentioned this at all? Honestly, we'll mention it now. And he didn't notice you? No, I was hidden by the tree. Is it really all that important to know from when the plaintiff saw? Yeah, it is actually. I just think it is. Because he would have seen the body. Why isn't he mentioning the body? Yes, I believe it matters a lot. I asked that it please be added to the witness testimony. Can we present this and like... I was under this tree when I saw Mr. Rebel. Can we present this right now? And be like, you would have seen everything. Why isn't he mentioning the body? That's my biggest issue here. Sorry. My biggest issue is look at this window. You can even see it here, watch. Look at this window here. There's no way you don't see a pile of books. Well, maybe at 10 p.m. you don't, but like if you're able to see That's a Rebel clearly, then I feel like you would look in the window and see this, right? Like, why would you not? You'd be like, what was he running away from? Maybe I'm going on a... It just seems kind of weird that he wouldn't mention the body. This is because it would make his case even more airtight. We'll try it, because they mentioned the later. That statement contradicts this piece of evidence. And just how does it contradict with the evidence? Oh, maybe not. Could I have about 5 minutes to figure out the answers to that? The defense will figure it out before he presents the evidence next time. Sounds like a plan. So maybe not. Maybe that's not important. But what if we try presenting the window then? That he was under, like this part here.
Objection!
No? Oh my god. Place this piece of evidence? I'm looking, but what? Oh, maybe we got this wrong entirely. That's 3 lives gone already. That's 3 lives gone already. As your boss and mentor, here's a bit of advice. Never present evidence before you have a good grasp of this. Wait. Sorry. Wait. And the beside judge, here's a penalty. Was Phoenix giving us actual advice there? Double team for just doing what Mr. Wright always does anyway. No, I genuinely think that Phoenix is maybe saying that this is the right evidence, but we don't have a full grasp on the situation. So should we press more situations? So let's try press some more stuff. If that's the case, that's a really cool way of doing that, if that's what they did there. Did you notice anything unusual?
Yes, his behavior was incredibly suspicious. His eyes were darting all around before he ran off in a total panic. As soon as I saw that, I knew he had done something and it probably wasn't good.
Despite that, you still didn't report it to the police?
Who would have thought that he'd killed Dr. Baff? Not me. That's why I didn't report him.
But you would have... That's... Yeah, it's very suspicious. Yeah, I genuinely think that study photo is the right evidence for that last one.
So the witness didn't notify the police. Is that an important statement, Mr. Justice?
Should we add it to the court record? Would it hurt us to add it to the court record? Yes, it's important. I requested a witness added to his testimony.
Fair. Sure, why not?
Should we keep pressing us stuff because I'm worried about presenting something again and Phoenix saying the same thing. Should we try this? We have so many statements in this now. But at the time you didn't know the doctor was dead, is that correct?
It's true that I've known him as a prodigy from a very young age.
Huh?
I graduated high school and college with exceptional grades as a class president. I reformed stale old school traditions. My exploits were covered in local papers. But as exceptional as I am, I can't possibly expect to know everything at all times.
This isn't working. He keeps bending the questions to serve his own needs. He is a politician. Politicians do this sometimes where they'll be like, And you'll see it in all debates. Like, it's like, so how are we going to fix the public transport system? The public transport system is an issue right now. It really is. But what I want to talk about, instead of making public transport cheaper yet, I want to talk about the crime rate in this country. And I plan to change, you know what I mean? And they change it that way. It's like, well, tell us how we're going to make, the transport cheaper. Hang in there, Apollo. Mr. Addison Wimperson, I believe the court is well aware of your exceptional nature. Now, would you please continue with your testimony?
I have upcoming election in the bag.
I guess we can try and press the next statement.
A vote for me is a...
No, definitely not this. He said he saw bats from under the tree. If that's true, then... Did you figure... This one... He's on the same lines as me. I think he's on the same lines as me. Yeah. But I actually think that I'm actually going to change... here's the thing. This didn't work now, and we could try this again. But also, I think this fits more in line with what we said here. I had no idea Dr. Buff was dead. That's why I didn't call the police. If we presented on this... Right? And maybe this is what Phoenix meant by having everything all together. He didn't call the police, and he had no idea Buff was dead. But... he would have seen him from here, so maybe this is what Phoenix meant by having all the information together?
Objection!
Yes! Oh my god! Phoenix taught us something in the middle of the courtroom. That's awesome. What happened here was, I was presenting the study photo on the other one because we caught on to the idea that he would have seen the body, but then Phoenix said to us, get all the evidence first. And it kind of like led me to go, okay, let's look at more things. We added the second statement to the testimony, and that fit what our piece of evidence was more, but I tried to press other things as well. Then, instead of going back to the original statement and pressing it, like the actual second statement we got fit the original study photo more. So in a way, Phoenix kind of pushed us into this once again. Not once again, but like in this trial, like he's up against us, but he's still teaching us. Mr. Addison Wimperson, rather than Mr. Rebel, wasn't there something else that should have been had your undivided attention?
Like what? Oh, yes, of course. Politician must also keep his finger on the electorate's pulse. And
oh my god, yeah, Phoenix. Sorry, Apollo, just keep him quiet. Sorry, but you're way off.
I am?
It's really good character writing for him that every time he tries to like do anything, he changes his what his story is, you know? Would you care to explain, Mr. Justice? If the witness saw Mr. Rebel from his position here, then he should have also been able to see the doctor's body. After all, it was right next to a huge window. Exactly. That's what yeah. I'm glad we had the right idea at the start, but we went about it wrong, and we got it wrong. But Phoenix really steered us into the right situation there. That's actually very cool how they did that. Well, I believe you have a point there. With the body that clearly visible to the witness, it's unthinkable that he wouldn't have reported it to the police. Would the witness care to respond? Oh my god, the freaking snot bubble. Is he sleeping? But yeah, Apollo's so right. Did he fall asleep? Mr. Addison Wimperson? Did he actually fall asleep? I think that showcases maybe how little he cares. Or maybe how little consequences he has. Oh my god, the judge. We never see the judge get this angry. Mr. Addison Wimperson! Oh my god, the music coming back into play. It fades back in as his eyes like slowly open up. I think it's legitimately the great character writing that they have him like... I think he doesn't care about authority. I think he doesn't care about anything because he's been handed everything his whole life. He doesn't believe in consequences.
There's many sides to any issue.
And there he goes. It goes back into being a politician. They have written his character so well. What did I ever do to deserve this? In any case, I'd like the court to acknowledge the inconsistency in the witness's testimony. Mr. Addison Wimperson, did you really see Mr. Rebel?
Yes.
No? What's he doing? What's he doing now? You can't just leave! You can't just leave! Where do you think you're going? Again, just I love how like they're doing like a caricature of like a really sleazy politician. Because again, what happens when you stop answering questions and the questions get too tough? That's enough. Mr. President has enough of these questions now. You know what I mean? It's like it just walks away.
I thought I returned to my seat, seeing as I had already answered the question.
This isn't some small town hall debate, so you stay right there until we're through. I love Apollo getting him like this. Deserved.
I'll have to run that by my campaign manager before I...
Objection! Oh my god, just glaring at him. Again, he's so sick of him. He's so sick of him already. Gulp. Mr. Addison Wimperson, I think it's time for you to come clean. Huh? And here's the thing, Phoenix isn't a bad guy. We know he isn't. He's like, dude, you lied. You clearly lied. So then, does this mean he didn't see Mr. Rebel? As your lawyer, Mr. Addison Wimperson, I advise you divulge that matter we discussed. Silence is no longer... Wait, what? Oh, Phoenix has another... He's another testimony up his sleeve. Oh, no.
Are you sure about this? I'm in the midst of running for office. I can't afford to let any strange rumors get out.
Don't worry. You won't suffer any blowback from what you're about to reveal. What is it? Well, he's already lied. Okay, I want to make that clear. He's already lied.
Blowback? I'm not sure I like the sound of that, Mr. Wright.
Not to worry, Your Honor. Nothing untoward will come of this, I promise. I'm so worried. I'm so worried. I don't think I was ever this good when I played Phoenix. I don't think I was ever this good. Now then, Mr. Justice. Remember how it was an anonymous caller that reported the doctor's death? Oh, he's going to say it was him? Come to think of it. Yeah, there was a caller who was anonymous. Emma, who was the first to want to discover the body? About that, whoever it was, it seems they wanted to remain anonymous. What? It happens now and then. Some people would rather not get involved with the police. Wait, you're not saying that... Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. The anonymous source who contacted the police after discovering the body was... my client. Oh my god, with the smile as well as he says his name. Man. They're turning this around again. This was a really strong lead for us. This is a really strong lead. And again, in his weirdo politician brain, he legitimately thought that it would have been a bad thing if someone caught him, like, even talking to the police, right? But, like, it actually would make him look a lot better if you, like, reported a crime. You know what I mean? Reported a murder and then tended to this guy as well if he waited at the scene as well. But again, he can't think that way because he's not even a regular human. He's clearly grown up in a rich baby bubble, you know? He's not a human at all. You don't say. So you see, he played this part as concerned citizen quite admirably, if I say so. Honestly, again, like, I think Phoenix is so right here because, again, it's because his brain is so warped, the guy, Addison, that he thinks that he would have been freaking in trouble with the press if you saw with the police. And I'm not saying you should use someone's death as a press story, but the fact is it would have looked better for him if he stayed by the guy's side until the police were there. I know he's probably saying, like, I didn't want to, like, be a suspect, but isn't that right?
Yes, indeed. In our society today, there are too many people choosing indifference over righteous action. But I don't number among them. That's why I did my duty as a concerned citizen. One might call me the model citizen. One worthy of standing above the rest.
Oh my god. He's so slimy. He's so slimy. So intentionally grimy and slimy, man. Oh my god. And it's like him just like being like proclaiming himself to be something amazing, you know, and and that's what they do in campaigns. They do it all the time where they're like, you know, Johnny Gongo is going for the presidency. He has 3 kids and a lovely wife and drinks milk every morning. And it's like, oh my god. And he knows what he's doing here. I'm a model citizen, you know? What a real standard bearer he is, reporting it anonymously. It's not good. It's half-arsed. Oh, the music stopped. And by the way, Mr. Justice, I'm not saying Phoenix's argument is half-arsed. I'm saying that Addison's actions are half-arsed. Wasn't there someone else at the scene of the crime when my client discovered the body? Who? Oh, you mean Mr. Rebel? He would have been leaving the doctor's house right around then. Wait, That means he didn't report the crime. In short, what my client witnessed was Mr. Rebel fleeing the scene of a heinous murder. Jesus Christ. You know what's crazy? They're playing the triumphant music, but because it's Phoenix. But we're the ones getting, like, beaten. He's doing it against us. Is this what it feels like? This is what hearing the triumphant music feels like? Now I know why every prosecutor reacts by, like, hitting himself in the face or something. It doesn't feel good. It feels weird. And that's not all. Based on what we heard so far, Mr. Rebel looked exceedingly suspicious, and that putting him mildly. Phoenix, you have to understand, Mr. Rebel, his default mode is suspicious. He is defaulted to be suspicious. I'm pretty sure on his wedding day, he will look around and be like, and when they say, like, I can now pronounce you, like, he'd be looking around for everything, you know? Like, if there's any objections to this marriage, he would literally, like, look into the crowd and, like, duck. You know? Like, that's him. We already know the Defiant Dragons threatened the Doctor with bodily harm. Oh, God. Phoenix, you're too good at this. Stop. Please stop. And now they've killed him. The so-called order transfer agreement is null and void. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ. Apollo, if you don't come up with some sort of counter-argument, and what sort of evidence do you have? Can you actually prove that it was Mr. Rebel who killed the Doctor? He's gonna probably have evidence in some way, but, like, this was very smart from Apollo to, like, push back with anything. That move has desperate Oliver. Yeah, it does, but, like, again, he learned that from Phoenix. Bluff your way into the end. It's all I've got, so I'm going with it. Evidence? I suppose it's true that I don't have any. I knew it. But I do have another witness. Huh? You do? You should all know I always come fully prepared, Mr. Justice. I do know you'd come prepared. And my new witness will provide testimony proving Mr. Rebel's guilt. Yeah. A new witness? I wonder who it could be. Very well. Bailiff, please summon our new witness. At least we won't have to deal with Addison. Even though Addison was a really well-written character. You know, he's fun to, like, he's funny in a very, like, oh, this guy's awful kind of way, you know what I mean? In the meantime, the court will take a brief recess. I would like both sides to use this time to prepare properly, understood? We're knowing what it's feel like to be, like, in a way, like, we're up against, like, what we're usually up against, what, like, you know, what other people are up against. It's actually kind of hilarious. Like, is that the first time ever we've heard that music, that triumphant music, used against us? It felt like, because when you hear it, you think you're winning. Like, subconsciously, you know? May 17th, District Court defended lobby number 3. Wow, I knew Mr. Wright would put up a tough fight, but it was very tough. Yeah, just when I thought we had him, he turned the tables on us. He really is the turnabout terror. I mean, the thing is, like, I'm kind of glad, because when Apollo hopefully beats him, I want it to be legitimate. I don't want it to be him pulling punches. And it's not that I want to beat Phoenix or I want Phoenix to lose. It's that Apollo became, like, my favorite Phoenix Wright character in Apollo Justice. And that's crazy to say because I played 3 Phoenix Wright games and loved them. Trials and Tribulations is one of the greatest games I've ever played. But also, I think the journey that Apollo has been on has been tough as heck. I'm not saying Phoenix didn't have a tough journey. He had an incredibly tough journey. But I just think, like, what Apollo has been through from Trials and Tribulations, Apollo Justice, to Dual Destinies, to even now with his family stuff. I really feel like they really ramped up this really unbelievably emotional story with these characters. And again, I hope I'm making it clear, Phoenix's story was still very emotional. Watch Trials and Tribulations. I was bawling my eyes out, right? But I think that, like, per percentage, Apollo has gone through, like, insane stuff in the past while. And I don't think just because he went through insane stuff he should win the trial, but I think that it's a great culmination of his story from Apollo Justice to him not knowing if not understanding or trying to reaffirm what he wanted to be as a lawyer in Dual Destinies, and wanting to be proven wrong in Dual Destinies, and having that big journey, that emotional, sad, depressive journey that he had in Dual Destinies, to now in this game having the whole trouble with his family and, you know, the stuff with Nayuta, and having that all be reminded to him as well. I just think it as a culmination of his journey, being able to say, not only is Phoenix proud of me, as he is in this game, but I also beat Phoenix as well. I've come a long way. You know what I mean? In terms of like the master people story, it's one of the best stories you could tell. It really is, and that's why I wanted to win. Here's the thing: if he loses, they could also do he loses, but the way they would have to do it for me is to have it be a way where he loses and there's an acknowledgement that he's still become such a long way, but they have to do it right. You know what I mean? It's the first option I said would just like make me so happy instantly. The second option I would have to see, and then I would have to see how they do it, right? Because that's the thing. I trust this game incredibly so. So it's one of those situations where I'm like, I want Apollo to win, but if it comes down to it and he loses, I don't distrust this game to not send me on a great journey. I have so much trust in the Ace Attorney franchise, so I'm here for the ride. We can't let him blindside us again. Looks like they got me again. Oh, this guy's the funniest guy in the world. 3 times in 1 year. That's a good record. I have to explain to people like Phoenix that this guy's default mode is running and hiding. Like, that's his thing. That's please. No more new records or bad puns while you're at it. I love him. I think he's brilliant. It's hard enough trying to help you as it is. Roger that. Be more careful next time. That's is what Mr. Wright said true? Did you really pay a visit to Dr. Buff that night? Sure did. Can't remember the exact time, though. All I know is he wouldn't hand over the orb. Someone put it in his head that we rebels were dangerous, and that's why he wrote the note, I guess. That's why he threw me out. So the doctor was still alive when Dats last saw him. I totally believe Dats didn't kill him, 100%. I totally believe that. We'll still have to prove it, though. Better brace yourself, son. The next witness testimony could make or break this case. Yeah, I know. Hey, where's Trucy? She said she wasn't going to take sides. Isn't it so interesting that, like, we usually have Phoenix telling us, like, that we need to brace ourselves. We usually have Phoenix, you know, being proud of us or kind of, like, supporting us from the sidelines sometimes, or even through a call. But now, in a strange turn of events, like, when our dad left us, Phoenix became the kind of father figure for a while. And not instantly, but eventually did. And now that Phoenix is against us, our dad is like back in our life again. It's like a really interesting turn of events, honestly. She went to go see her dad. Maybe she's still mad. I mean, Apollo, I'm gonna say he instigated this, I think, more than anything. I think it's like, I understand where Trucy's coming from, but Phoenix being like, hey, we're gonna have to take this to court is 100% a challenge. It's 100% Phoenix knowing that Apollo would have taken this to court. Phoenix isn't dumb. But again, Trucy, from her perspective, it's, Apollo, if you just refused to take this to court and you accepted what Phoenix wanted, you would never have done this. Again, we have to understand, Trucy is still young as heck. And even if you're not young, emotions can get wild in your head. All she knows is that, like, we accepted the court case that means that we're up against Phoenix. You know? More like worried. Worried that this trial will create a rift between you two. That too. And that's a great point. And then you might leave the agency. That's a fantastic point. It's a fantastic point. Trucy doesn't want things to get bad between us. Yeah, it's not just the idea that, like, she could be mad at us. It's like, yeah, that's a fantastic point, Athena. Fantastic point. She's an active imagination. But see, that's the thing. That's the thing. We all have family, and we all see fights between our family. And sometimes they fight, and it's like everything's okay. But sometimes there's a little bit of a fight that you look and you're like, are things going to be okay? And they usually are, but you're like, man, that's a rough fight, you know? I'm talking about like extended family, like cousins, whatever, and you're like, oh, this might not be good for a while, you know what I mean? So I totally understand, like, that idea, you know? Excuse me, the trial will be resuming shortly. Well, let's go see what the new testimony awaits us. Yeah, I think a great point from Athena. Great conversation. Makes sense. May 17th, District Court. Courtroom number 6. All right, court is back in session. Mr. Wright, you said you had the witness. Your Honor, I would like to call the lone survivor of the doctor's murder to the stand. Wait. He can't... The Sarge. Oh my god, okay. Is he coming in person? You mean Dr. Bus Recluse's son? How did you get him to cooperate? Nothing a little persuasion couldn't handle. And I know Phoenix would have been nice. The poor child only agreed to help if it meant to catch and to kill her. And that makes sense. Yeah, I know Phoenix wouldn't have been bad. I know Phoenix would not have been bad. There's no, like, thought process there that he would have been bad to him. Getting a kid like that to overcome his fear, and that's impressive, yeah? I mean, Phoenix is very motivational now as well. This must be really important testimony for the kid to come out in public like this. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, again, we're going to get to see what he looks like. Honestly, he comes out in the drone, which, like, you know, could happen. Very well, Mr. Wright. Please call your witness to the stand. Oh, man. Yeah, he came out in the drone. Makes sense. I thought we would have seen him, but I don't know if we will see him, actually. Maybe we will. Sergeant Buff, at your service. Sir? He's here as the drone? Really? Again, I don't... It doesn't bother me because we cross-examined a whale on Orca, you know? Mr. Wright, what exactly is the meaning of this? Judge, you were in the courtroom when a parrot was being questioned, when an orca was being questioned, when a freaking, like, 8-year-old was up for, like, trial for murder. You know what I mean? Like, let's not pretend that this is, like... I know, like, the judge has to ask what the meaning of this is. He does, but, like, Jesus Christ, come on, guys. I'm not even good. Like, I played so many of these Ace Attorney games now that, like, this is the least weirdest thing I've done in these games. I remember when I played Genshin and there was a trial in Genshin and people were, like, in the comments being like, this trial is so crazy, this trial is mad, and this trial is this, and I'm like, this is, like, the least craziest trials. It was a crazy trial in terms of moments, but I mean in terms of, like, the legal aspects of it. It's like, man, I'm used to, like, crazy trials, you know what I mean? With Phoenix Wright. The moments in the Genshin trial were crazy, but, like, the actual, like, way that they did the prosecution in the end and the verdict, it's like, I'm so used to this type of stuff that's actually really crazy in Ace Attorney, you know? Past trauma has rendered it impossible for the witness to venture into public. Leaving home was hard enough, and it seems leaving the witness lobby was just too much. But I would still like to continue the testimony delivered via drone. I mean, they do via satellite sometimes, right? I understand it must be terrible to lose one's father like that. But testimony via remote control toy? Come on, Judge. Well, let's take things for a spin and see how it goes. Honestly, yeah. Because I think they do, like, satellite court cases, right? Just who's piloting this trial anyway? The judge sure warmed up to the idea fast. I'm not against it. Like, I'm just not against it. I think the phrase you're looking for is gave up. You disappoint me, Corporal Justice. I think I once called you a comrade. No, don't say we're not No! We got along so well. It was such a sweet moment. If any man who killed Papa, that's full on Oh, no. See, he thinks that's a rebel, or Dirk could have done it, I'm guessing. I hereby demote you back to private. Corporal? Private? What's he talking about, Apollo? We got along really well because we related to stuff. He definitely thinks it's because we're defending That's a Rebel, yeah. It was a sweet moment, but of course it makes sense that he would be against us now as well if Phoenix has made him think that it's... Or if even the court made him think that's a rebel, you know? It's a long story. Now then, are you ready to testify, youngster? Locked and loaded, sir. Ready to rain lead down on the perpetrator. Oh my god, the little twiddle of the mustache, the airplane mustache. Here we go. What happened that evening? Papa met someone in the night he died. I didn't have eyes on the ground as I had already mounted the siege defense, but I did hear him arguing with someone in the study. Okay. From my window, I saw the one designated dads getting ejected from the premises. So he got ejected. That's good. After that, the man lingered around the perimeter for some time. He must have regrouped and killed my papa in the study later. I just know it. So That's a Rebel said he did get removed, right? So let's look at these statements again just before we go into it, I guess. Papa met someone the night he died. Didn't have eyes on the ground, but I'd already mounted a siege, my siege defense. Right. I did hear someone arguing in the study. From my window, I saw the one designated DATS getting ejected from the premises. So we can definitely press that one. From my window, I saw the one designated DATS getting ejected from the premises because we know that he did get ejected, so we can maybe add that something to the court. And the lingering one as well. Yeah. And wouldn't he have a camera though? In his drone? Didn't they say that? Or maybe that's a... Yeah. Camera and a microphone, 100%. He would have been able to see it if he flew down there. So maybe that's another thing too. So those three statements we can press. We can press those three statements. The camera, because he would have had a camera. I didn't have eyes on the ground. Is already mounted on my siege defense. Wait, though, he said he would have siege defense. So he's saying he was because he was upstairs. No, because the siege defense is when he hides away. But he would have had his We found the drone on the ground anyway, so he would have been able to see something with the camera possibly. We can press all three. It doesn't matter. We can press all three. Yes, Your Honor. So the man my client saw really must have been fleeing Mr. Rebel. Oh, that's a rebel objecting. Objection. That's getting to do one objection. You know, it's a dream for some people. Right, you backstabbing no good. I didn't kill no one. It's the enemy. Ready to all missiles and fire. Oh my God, the missiles this time. That's a rebel in the defensive position. Capitalist pig. I'll turn you into pork stroganoff. Capitalist pig. I just taste my ultimate anti-SWAT weapon. Whoa, it fires missiles too? It has everything, it seems. Yes, well, the witness is all yours, Mr. Justice. Let's press these 3 statements, okay? Let's press the 3 statements you picked. That's hilarious. That's absolutely hilarious. Capitalist pig is crazy. Hold it. I'm sorry, I've always wondered. Who or what are you battling? Is that what we're asking? Oh, maybe we can, yeah, okay, we'll press the other statements, and if that doesn't work, then we can present the actual thing on this thing here. We can present the actual thing that says he has camera then. Oh, we'll try that. That's classified. Even so, it may be relevant to this case. I don't think it is. I don't know if you're the right person to be asking about things like that. That's right, such matters need to be handled with certain delicacy. Huh? I guess curiosity got the better of me. You're all talking, no action, soldier. Out on the battlefield, it ain't the number of petty words you're in your repertoire, but the number of bullets in your gun belt that counts. Easy for you to say. You're the one with all of them. He's like, you literally have all the. You're literally the only one who can use a gun. Will the witness please tell the court what he saw and heard that night? Okay, so I guess we can present something on that. I did hear him arguing with someone in his study. Because here he said he's able to see from his window getting ejected from the premises, right? We'll press this as well. We'll press it as well. How was Mr. Rebel acting? Like a conquered trooper retreating with his tail between his legs. A trooper? Well, I guess he does dress like like he's in the military. I bet this two would have really hit it off had they met under different circumstances. Honestly, it seems like the coolest uncle in the world. He seems like the type of uncle that, like, you can't, like, rely on fully, but, like, when he is there, like, he's hilarious and he's so fun. Yeah, I can see that. So not the coolest uncle, just like the craziest. And so the defeated soldier was expelled, but that wasn't the end. And we're pressing this one too. After that, the man lingered around the perimeter for some time. That does seem suspicious. He kept hiding behind trees and telephone poles and stealing glances at our house. But that's a rebel. He would do that anyway. That's his hobby. Well, he couldn't exactly leave without the orb. I bet he was angry that he'd been kicked out. So not that either? So let's try and present the thing on the second one then to say, like, maybe you had a... Because he's talking about having eyes in the ground, so we could say he had a camera. We could get a hint as well from... Yeah, let's get the hint. Why not? Let's get the hint. Why not? So Sarge saw that too. And just when I thought things couldn't get any worse. I wonder why he hung around after being thrown out. I hate to say this, but if that's proven to be the killer, we'll lose the orb and the plaintiff. So only options to prove the Defiant Dragons had nothing to do with the murder. So we didn't get any hint there. We just got like a little bit of a... I guess they're giving up on hints as we're getting closer to the trial. So pop him out with someone the night he died. We can press this too. Your father met with someone? See, I'm just not sure about the camera thing because of the phrasing. So I want to like try and do everything else first. Your father met with someone. Could you be more specific? No, I was in the midst of a crucial defensive siege operation. Right. You're referring to how you don't leave your room, correct? You never know what the enemy might be lurking outside the siege perimeter. What about you, school? I don't know if this is the time to ask this question. I don't know if it's time to ask this question. Oh, I don't go to boot camp, I'm a soldier. A sergeant is associated with rookies still too green to fight. With a kid like this, I bet Dr. Buff wouldn't be getting any rest in the afterlife either.
It was very brave of you to come to the courthouse today. But what you said about the siege defense?
Oh, that? Well... See, I don't have many lives yet. That's why I left. That's why I'm trying to, like, be, like, a bit, you know... We press this as well. I'm trying to be a bit, like, you know, lenient with my evidence presenting if I'm not too sure. What was the argument about? Heard things like, where's the oarman? Are you define dragons really criminals? So that makes sense. That's him asking, like, hey, like, are you actually bad guys when he's trying to give her the orb? It sounded really volatile, like a war might break out any second. So the two of them had an argument when Dats came to get the orb. Did you see or hear anything else? Yeah, I heard them arguing, and then silence. That's not good. That's really bad. From my window, I saw the one designated Dats getting ejected. So we already did that one. We can try to press the last one.
Hold it!
I guess. And if not, we'll present the air. And again, I hope you understand what I'm saying. Usually I'd like present it, but like I'm just so worried that we have like 2 left, and I'm not totally sure about that helicopter thing, drone thing. But don't you keep your front door unlocked? If so, then anyone could have gone in. That's true. Papa didn't keep our house locked up. He said there was no need because there were only good people in Crane Village. And honestly, like, not true now, but at one point, like, there was a really bad person there. But like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, it's a very peaceful place, but yet he ended up dead anyway. And that's the thing. It's there's places like that still in like Ireland where they don't lock their doors. You know what I mean? But I'd still lock my door. I wouldn't care. I remember like I was staying with a cousin one time, like out the country, and I remember like he had this like it was like a shed, but it was like reimagined into like a guest area, and it was like a really cool thing. And by the way, like I wouldn't even have one of those myself. Like it's like we all have that one like relative who's like when you go to their place and we're like, whoa, look at this place. It's mahusive. That's what he had. So like I stayed out there, and I remember like his mother was like, yeah, like you know, you don't even have to like lock your place at night, you know? And I know I was like much younger, but like I still had my old thing where I was like, I am locking this door. I don't care, you know? You don't even have to lock the doors out here in the country. Yeah, I do. I will lock the door. Only a monster could do what they did to my king. Can't trust in Papa. There'll be no mercy. I vow swift and terrible vengeance. I'll carpet bomb. Jesus Christ, buddy. Fire! He's very frustrated. It's his dad. While I sympathize with you, witness, will you refrain from firing the Gatling guns in this court? So Sergeant and saw that's too. So it's the same thing as before, yeah. So we can try and present the airplane. We're gonna have 1 life left if we fail. Again, I'm not saying this isn't a good line of thinking. My whole problem with it is that like, is he saying that he didn't say anything because he hid away, or was it possible because he had his drone out? Because they mentioned there's a camera. Maybe I should have just done it right away. We should have done it right away. Okay. I hope you understand where I'm coming from. I was just like, I wasn't so sure. Are you hiding something from me? How dare you question your superior officer like that? You want to get into stroganoff action with me, pig boy, over this soldier? Sorry, but I'm afraid lawyers are missile-proof. Whoa, Apollo. What? What? Would the defense care to explain? It's simple, Your Honor. Just as he's able to see what's happening in the court right now. Yeah, okay, he's going with that idea. Sarge was able to see what was happening in the study then. With his cherished drone, of course. Now that you mention it. And to think the answer was right before our eyes the whole time. Sarge, you were perfectly capable of patrolling the study that night. So you must have seen something. Oh my god, the explosion, the oil dripping. I'm hit with a strange weapon using against me. I think it's called, logical statements, maybe. Yeah, like, this is a crazy animation. Korean warriors don't use guns or missiles because evidence is our weapon of choice. Apollo is, like, really laying it on here. Some good lines. And the evidence is exposed your bald-faced lie. My truth bomb, Sarge, has stripped you. You know what he's doing? He's fighting fire with fire. The language that he used against him, he's using the exact same language. That's really cool. Truth bomb. Oh no. Again, it's the right. I think it's the right thing to do. Oh my god, he's going down. It's the right thing to do when it comes to, I think Apollo has the right idea. The best way to communicate with him is through the army talk as well, you know? Oh my, are you alright? Oh, but evidence never have I seen such a fearsome ordinance. This animation is crazy. But yeah, like, I think it's actually, I'm so proud of Apollo. This, like, he realized to communicate with Sarge in the best way possible, you have to communicate fire with fire. You do. And because he's so into the role-playing of the army stuff that if you role-play back, he gets locked in place in this idea as well. Tell to us straight, Sarge. After all, you want to help your father, don't you? Papa. You want to find out who killed him, don't you? So please, tell us what you saw that night. It's not what you think. I didn't see anything. I swear. Oh, he saw something that maybe affected his dad in a bad way is what I'm thinking. If he doesn't want to say it, because he put That's a Rebel down in the grave, you know? You sure? You seem awfully stressed for someone who didn't see anything. Oh my god, yeah, instead he responds with anger. And I think it is like an emotional response, right? 100%. You know? And there's nothing wrong, like here, that I think they've written the character very well, even if the stuff is actually like really, you know, the actual practice is very wild with the animations and the, you know, the Sarge thing and the oil dripping from the drone. I think the way they've written this character is actually like really well done in a sense of like showcasing how someone who's closed in reacts when someone tries to enter that barrier too quickly. You know what I mean? It usually leads to anger, you know? You need to answer my question. Shut up your pie hole, maggot. It'll be a scorching day in Siberia before I lowly private like yours orders me around. What's with him in Siberia of all places? I mean, like, I think to a kid, it is like legitimately like the coldest place you can think of in movies. It's like, oh, he's going to Siberia, you know? So again, I think it is like really, again, I think they're writing this really well. But if a scorching day is what it'll take, then maybe it's time to turn up the heat. Hey, Athena, you think we're going to do some therapy with this kid. Okay. That makes sense. Guys, that's actually where I'm going to end the episode here for today. And I actually think that we're like going through this like slowly but surely. I've been enjoying this actually quite a bit. And I think it's actually a really great trial so far. And I think the best thing about it so far is the dynamic between Phoenix and Apollo, how it makes us feel very strange. And I think like it's not supposed to feel normal. We're up against Phoenix, who this time around I feel like used like, you know, still some cool tricks. But also he like is really good at just like turning things in his favor like so well. He is able to like find tiny pieces of evidence and turn them into something big. And like he also like gets like a bunch of different things together and like, you know, I know it's like that's what you do in like a case. You topple evidence on top of each other. But I feel like this time around, like the way Phoenix like really did the thing earlier with the why is my head blanking? We literally just did it. The way he did the thing earlier with the witness stuff. Sorry, the witness stuff. I was just looking for the right word. Was actually really well done because not only did we walk into it, he also was able to like utilize multiple things. He was able to go the letter, which we already said was good evidence. Then there's a different blunt object that hit him in the head. There is an actual anonymous caller was actually Paul Addison, and multiple witnesses have seen That's a Rebel leaving from the trial. He was able to put these four things together so well and so quickly, and it made sense. Like from the perspective of someone who's in the gallery or in a jury or a judge, you'd look at that and go like, oh, you need to push back on this. That's really good evidence. Because all we know is like he was hit with something different. It was a murder, possibly murder. Paul Addison was a witness and called the police for help, and also his son saw him That's a Rebel leave as well. And there's also a note saying that like that appears that he was under duress with the Defiant Dragon. So all that together like is really good evidence to push it back against That's a Rebel. It is, even though like I know That's a Rebel didn't do it, it's really good evidence to push it back against him. And like you can't help but just be like, oh my god, it's really, really good.
Will you be joining us? Then it's settled.
But I feel like this, you know, going up against Nayuta and then going up against Phoenix for this entire game has been like a treat, really, because they're both really efficient at what they do. They're both really good at gathering evidence, and they're both really good at turning your own argument against you really quickly. So I think it's been like it's been while I've been annoyed at Nayuta sometimes, I've come away from both these trials with the Phoenix and Nayuta kind of saying, I had the best of competition here, you know, some of the best we've ever had. And like, we've gone up against like Edgeworths, Blackwell, Aldi Godot, some really like powerful Von Karma, some really powerful, forceful people who are really good at pushing back against you. And still, like, I find Nayuta to be like one of the most efficient we've ever been up against. And Phoenix has done a good job already. And he's not even done with the trial. And he's not a prosecutor, of course, but you know what I mean. But yeah, it's also weird hearing, like, say, like the triumphant music against us, hearing Phoenix object against us, hearing us object to Phoenix. It'll never get like normal. But I think it's the point. It's like supposed to be kind of like really strange and out there, and not really normal of a feeling. They also play up the emotions really well. I think unbelievable. Like having Trucy kind of be upset by this whole situation because it feels like, you know, the two people that she loves the most in her life, which is Apollo and Phoenix, are fighting, and it's her brother basically, and it's her dad. So it's really like frustrating and probably very upsetting to see this. And of course she went to her dad, which makes sense because she probably thought, Apollo is Athena, I'll go to my dad and all this stuff too. But they're really playing up the emotions really well, this also. And I think that like what's really great about this trial in this case so far is that it's a lot of stuff to do with like parental figures and father figures and family. We have the stuff with the professor dying and leaving his son behind and his mother dying. We have the stuff with our dad coming back and Phoenix being our father figure, but now like we have to go up against our father figure while our old father figure, our original dad, comes back and is supporting us. Then we also have the stuff with Trucy, you know, about her dad, which is Phoenix, and also the idea of her family maybe being torn apart as well at the same time also. There's a lot of like familial themes in this game. And then of course you have the stuff with Rafa, with her dad and her mom and how she puts them on a pedestal. And you have the stuff with Nayuta and his, of course, Dirk as well. Also, there's like so much familial stuff in this game. And I think the theme is family in this game more than anything. And they're doing that really well here too. I think that this has been a fun trial so far. And it's actually one of those things where like I love that Phoenix Wright can also give me like this excitement while also like making me worry about what's going to come next for all these trials. So far, great. I think also, by the way, Paul Addison's a great character to like kind of laugh at in a way. He's not a good dude, but it's fun to like kind of be like, oh, this guy, you know, he's a good enemy, I think is the way I put it. But it's still really like fun what we got to do here. And I really enjoyed it. I think I've really enjoyed this game so far, and we're not even nearly done, I don't think, because again, if it's longer than the last trial and longer than the other trials, we have a bit to go. Guys, thank you so much for watching this. You can see this video early as well if you want on Patreon or on YouTube memberships for the lowest tier, which is $1.50 or €1. Tyfire 2, Jamie Bull, Johnny the Banana, the Ghosty Nizuma, Listus Felix, Yuled, Radish, Anusta, The Assassin, True Peanut Butter, Peter Shelson, Liam, Hike Sperian, Jared Beanham, Neo Sharite, and the highest tier on my YouTube, Gorgum7, Blasco, and Lucinagi. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.